This is Histories and Mysteries. I'm Ashley.
I'm Jessica. And on this week's episode, Ashley is going to be talking about the really sad story of the murder of Lukas Strasser-Hird.
Yes.
And I am going to be talking about something that I touched on last week, which is the Molly Maguires.
Oh, yeah. Right off the bat. Sorry, guys. I'm fighting a cold or allergies or something. And we're kind of new to video editing, so I will not be able to edit out all my coughing. So sorry in advance.
I'll at least be able to edit that out of our audio.
Yeah. And it's one of those coughs that's like deep and it hurts. And you can like taste it. You know what I mean? I hate it. Anyway,
yeah.
It's not COVID. I took a test. But
that's good.
Yeah, because I was thinking that I haven't gotten COVID yet, and I was like, of course I would get it like at the very end. But
because didn't Cody have it too, and he didn't get it?
Yeah, Cody had it. Cody had it. My mom had it. And my mother-in-law had it, and they were all staying with us, and I didn't get it, and neither did Oliver. So
that's awesome. That happened to my dad too. He was staying with he was staying with my mom and my sister and stuff, and like. Everybody in my family got it except for him.
Oh, good for him.
Like the adults, the kids, everybody.
Yeah. My poor aunt, she's had breast cancer before, and it came back with a vengeance. And so she was supposed to go in for surgery Tuesday. She fucking got COVID.
Oh.
So now they have to postpone her surgery for 6 weeks. And the doctors are petitioning to the CDC because it's like a really aggressive cancer and they don't want to wait 6 weeks.
My gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap.
So everybody, please send any positive vibes, prayers, thoughts towards her. She is an amazing woman. She has endured so much. And she's just a really, really amazing woman. So.
Aw.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, thanks. We're hopeful because they caught it. Because the type of cancer she has, it's generally caused by having either like a severe trauma to your chest or from women that have gone through radiation already. And it's usually really deep and it's super, super aggressive. So they don't find it until it's too late. And I think the mortality rate, I think like only 5% of people survive like the first 2 years. But with hers, it was really close to the surface. And so she felt the lump. And so she went in. And so they've caught it really early. So fingers crossed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
prayers to your aunt.
Thank you so much. She's awesome. But on to some equally sad news is my story.
Oh, no.
It's going to make you cry. It made me cry.
All right. And I just want to apologize if I'm yawning too much. I have a very busy work week. It's not your story.
Am I boring you, Jessica?
Never. Never. Did you listen to the song I sent you?
No, I did not. Sorry. I think I was like, I don't know. I think I was working on my story actually. And I was like, I'll listen to it later. And then I've just been going ever since.
I'm really offended.
I'm really sorry.
It's a really good song.
I've heard it before.
Really?
Yeah, it's a pretty famous song, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard it until today.
Yeah, it's from like 1986, Jessica. It's from Huey Lewis in the News.
I know some of his other songs.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it really encapsulated us.
Stuck with you? That's rude. Okay, let's do this. I'm already yawning myself. It's been a long day. All right. So, actually, Jessica, this is a Canadian story.
Ooh.
That I got from a show called Crime Beat. And Crime Beat is all Canadian murders. So there's a whole show for you.
Super.
I also got information from Global News and the Calgary Herald.
Okay.
Do you know where Calgary is?
Yes, I know where Calgary is.
Oh, I don't know where it is.
Oh, it's in Alberta.
Is it a pretty big town?
Yeah.
All right, so Lucas Strasser-Hird was involved in so many things growing up. He was involved in sports, music, did really well in school, you name it, he did it all. He said his family said that anything he put his mind to, he excelled in, but especially music. They said that he could play anything from ear, so he didn't need sheet music. He could just hear something once and then be able to play it.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah. And his parents were divorced. So he split his time between his mom and his dad. And when he was 9 years old, he had a half sister, Julia, be
Aw.
born. And she was his mini me. She followed him around everywhere, wanted to be just like
Aw.
him. And he loved it.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah. She said he was such a good brother. He was always teaching her things and showing her things. And just really, really great. And at 17, his grandfather who lived in South Africa said, "Hey, why don't you come live with me for a year, attend this international school, and just like get some traveling under your belt?" And being a 17-year-old kid, he was like, yeah. So he went there, stayed there for a year, loved his time there. While there, figured out he wanted to be a doctor. So that's what he was going to pursue.
Aw.
But he was missing his friends and family. So after the year, he headed back home. On November 22nd, 2013, Lucas came home to Calgary. Is that how you say it? Calgary?
Calgary.
Okay. And just like any other teen boy, he spent the entire day with his buddies. And they decided to go out to the bars that night to celebrate. He's 18 at the time in Canada. As we all know, the legal drinking age is 18, not like in America where it's 21.
You guys suck.
Yeah. So as you guys know, I'm from Michigan. So a lot of times for 18th birthdays, we would go over to Windsor and drink there and then come back. But I didn't do that because I don't remember why I didn't do that, but we didn't end up doing it for my 18th. But yeah.
You're a goody two shoes.
So they went out to the bar and they went to a couple bars and they ended up at this place called the Vinyl Club. And this is where the night took a turn for the worst.
Oh, no.
Apparently during last call, some guy called another guy a name. And they actually in the documentary said he called him some profanity. You know,
I was going to say, did he call him a goober? Because apparently that's not nice.
Well, I was going to say, they said profanity because this is Canada. So apparently they can't say the real word. Because Canadians are so nice. They couldn't dare to say it again.
I mean, this story doesn't seem like it's going for a nice turn. So
it's not. It's not. And you're Canadian. So we all know. No, I'm just kidding. What are you looking for?
I'm finding a way to escape. I'm gonna drink out of my life is hard cup.
I love that. So after this profanity was said, Lucas actually stood up for the guy getting picked on and was like, "Hey, knock it off."
Oh, it wasn't even him.
No.
Oh.
Then this guy continued by yelling racial slurs at another guy, and Lucas was not having it. So Lucas told this guy to basically shut up, and the other guy started getting physical and shoved Lucas. All of a sudden, Lucas was surrounded by a group of moronic idiots, and they were attacking him. The bouncer from the club came, grabbed Lucas, told him to go inside to kind of like diffuse the situation. But just as Lucas was going inside, the ride showed up, and a buddy that was with Lucas outside saw the ride, hopped in, was like, "Hey, this is a really bad situation. Let's drive around back and we'll pick up Lucas there."
Oh, no.
Once inside, Lucas, who had another friend with him, told the bouncer what was going on. Like another bouncer was like, "Hey, can we go through the back? Because these guys, we're afraid they're going to jump Lucas again in the front." And the bouncer was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. Come with me." So he takes him out to the back. And he was parked like across the road. So they're like, "Well, if we can just get to his car, like, you know, we can just do that." But as soon as they entered the alley, the guys were there waiting for him. They pointed at Lucas and screamed, "There he is." They all chased after Lucas, swarmed him, and attacked him. There was like 10 to 15 guys attacking Lucas.
Yeah, because that's fair.
Yeah. His friends were trying to get to him. And his one friend, I feel so bad for that. I mean, aside from Lucas and his family, I feel really bad for this guy because He was completely sober that night, so he remembers everything like in vivid detail.
Oh, no.
And he said that Lukas was begging them to stop. He was saying, "You're killing me. Please stop. I'm dying." But they just kept going. They kept saying, "You messed with the wrong guys. You messed with my friend. This is what you get." Several people that night called 911 because there's like several witnesses, in the alley and in the bars and stuff. And finally, the group left. Lukas was bleeding out profusely, as one witness said in their 911 call. While they were all on, not all, but like while some of them were on the phone with 911, the group came back and attacked Lukas some more. His buddy said that at this point, it was almost like his face was reconstructed. His eyes were swollen shut, and he was just so messed up that his friend could barely recognize him.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. His friend actually had a really hard time describing his face because he was like, I've tried to block it out of my memory. I don't want to see it. Well, sad news, because it turns out that while Lukas was being beat in the back of the club, the police were there. They actually got called right after the incident in the front of the club, but they were in the front of the club trying to figure out like what was going on, what happened, not knowing what was going on behind the club. So because they were there, once they got the 911 calls, they were able to get on scene pretty quickly after that. And this whole attack happened. Remember the ride that showed up, the friend jumped in and said, "Let's go around back." This whole attack happened in the time it just took them to go around back. So it was super fast.
What?
Yeah, it was a super quick attack. But during this attack, Lukas was stabbed. His shirt was completely red from all the blood. And he was just in a really bad state. So he was rushed to the hospital, immediately went into surgery. And his poor dad was sleeping, like a lot of people, he had the notifications turned off on his phone while he was sleeping. But he woke up at 5:30 a.m. to 9 missed calls from a number he didn't know. And he said, at first, I just kind of assumed that Lukas had like too much to drink and needed a ride home. And I was just kind of like, oh, I hope we got a ride home,
Yeah.
But then his phone rang again. It was his ex-wife, Lukas's mom, Audrey. And he said he answered the phone and she was just screaming and said, "Get to the hospital. Lukas has been stabbed 3 times." I just can't imagine getting that call as a parent, but
no.
His mom, Audrey, was out of town for work at the time. And so she was 6 hours away. And so she had to just, knowing this information, just drive back for 6 hours.
I couldn't do that.
I can't even imagine. This part's really sad, Jessica. I actually wrote in my notes, Jessica, this part is so sad.
Super.
When his dad's name was Dale, when he came into the hospital room, he said he felt relief because he said, that isn't Lukas, because his face was so disfigured that his dad didn't recognize him.
Oh,
and I think part of it was probably hope, like that can't be him. That can't be him.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, I did feel a bit of relief thinking that's not Lukas. But he said he held his hand and kind of like smelled his hair and he knew it was him. They brought his little sister Julia to see him. She was 9 at the time. And her first reaction was also, that's not Lukas. Like he was horribly, horribly beaten. So Julia, the sister, and Dale, the dad, were holding Lukas's hands. And they said they both felt him squeeze. So they knew that he knew that they were there. And then all of a sudden his blood pressure dropped. The doctor called Dale out of the room. And Dale said that like, there's 2 doctors and one of them was like, well, if he hadn't have been stabbed in the heart, if this hadn't happened, and Dale's just kind of like, what are you saying? And another doctor jumped in and said, your son's dying. He's going to die in about 5 minutes. So
that's tasteful.
Yeah. But I think because he had so short a time and they had him out of the room, he just wanted to get it out so his dad could be with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is the part that made me cry, and I might cry while reading it. Dale ran back into Luka's room and was screaming in his ear, "Please don't give up. Keep going. Keep fighting." He said, I'll never let this happen to you again. I will always protect you forever. Please don't give up. But during this time, Luca passed.
No.
And the doctors came in and started turning the machines off. And Dale was like, why? Don't give up on him. Don't give up on him. And they're like, sir, your son has passed away. And his mom didn't make it to the hospital in time to say goodbye.
Oh, I would hate that. Yeah. I can like hear my daughter in our like in the next room. So that's just like,
oh. I know. When I was writing this, Oliver was napping and I was like, I want to wake him up and hug him. I didn't. Yeah. I didn't, but
yeah. Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah. So police immediately started looking for the guys, the group that did this to him. And unfortunately, there wasn't anything on security camera because I guess they were just in a spot. Either the back of the rest or the bar didn't have security cameras, or they were like in a spot where there wasn't one pointed at them. But thankfully, there was a lot of witnesses. And again, one of his friends was completely sober. So his memory of what happened was pretty good. And using this information and information from the other witnesses, police were able to arrest 2 people fairly quickly. They also had security cameras from the front of the bar, which did show that first encounter on camera.
Oh, good.
So first they arrested 19-year-old Franz Cabrera, and he was charged with second-degree murder.
What? Sorry, like I expected it to be someone a lot older.
Yeah, no, these boys are all 18 and 19 years old.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then they arrested 18-year-old Nathan Gervais, and Nathan looked like a bro. And he was charged with first-degree murder.
Oh.
Then a few days later, Josh Pook was charged with second-degree murder, and 3 weeks later, Ashmar Slaw was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. And then Jordan Lau was charged with second-degree murder. So they arrested 5 people out of like the 10 to 15 that attacked him.
That's insane. Did they say why?
They didn't. There's a couple things in here that I tried to find more information on and I couldn't. And one of them I'll tell you when we get to. But yeah, I'm not sure why only 5 of them. I don't know if maybe these were the 5 that did the attacking and the other ones were just kind of watching. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And one by one, each of them was let out on bail, including Nathan, who was charged with first-degree murder. So finally, 2.5 years after Lucas's murder, and 2.5 years that these douches were free to run around, their trial began. But Nathan Gervais, our first-degree murder charge, skipped bail the night before the trial and took off.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
Because it makes sense to release the criminal before they're brought to trial.
Right. But they continue on the trial without him. They tried the other 4 boys. And apparently, the whole thing started when Ashmere didn't get his coat immediately from the coat check and like became enraged. So the bouncers kicked him out. And as they were doing so, Ashmere started yelling racial slurs at them. Lukas was outside and basically said like, yo, enough with the racial names or something along those lines. That's when Ashmere turned on Lukas and attacked him. Then all of Ashmere's friends joined in. Lukas fought back and hit Ashmere like across the face. And then all of his friends pinned Lukas against a wall. But that's when the bouncer came out and pulled him inside and said, hey, get inside while we defuse this situation.
Okay, question.
Yes.
So this other guy, Nathan, right, was the one charged with first degree?
Yeah.
But Ashmore is the one that started it. So why wasn't he?
We'll get to that. Why Nathan was charged with first degree.
Okay.
So then Ashmere and his friends were in the alley waiting for Lukas. And apparently Ashmere was seen running from the scene of the crime and his shoe was soaked in Lukas' blood because he kicked his teeth in.
Oh my God.
Ashmere testified in his own defense and he denied that he had anything to do with the attack, but they did have him on video in the front of the club initiating the first encounter. and his shoe was covered in Lukas' blood. And they showed pictures of the shoe. It was soaked.
Yeah.
He said that this blood was his own while he was getting arrested. He's like, no, that's my blood. He said, you won't see a fleck of Nathan's blood on me. I mean, Lukas's blood on me.
Oh my gosh, what a dummy.
Yeah. And which is like not hard to prove. They just have to do DNA on the blood. Then during the trial, he's like, oh, well, I got a bloody nose. And that's where most of the blood is from. But
on your one shoe?
Yeah. He's like, but I may have run through a puddle of Lukas's blood when I was back in the alley. But I didn't attack him. I didn't attack him. I was just in the alley.
Okay. Whatever you say, bud.
Yeah. But the blood was obviously Lukas's, and they also found DNA on Ashmer's left shoe of Lukas's as well. And come to find out, Ashmer was an incredibly talented soccer player. He played in one of the highest levels of competitive league for his age. He wasn't pro or anything, but just really good soccer player.
Never gonna be.
And the blood stain was right in the same spot where a soccer player would kick a ball.
Oh no.
So the theory was that they were taking turns kicking Lukas's head like a soccer ball. Now, Franz Cabrera's attorney didn't try to deny his involvement with the attack, but he said he really didn't do that much in the attack. But witnesses said they saw Franz stomp on Lukas's head, and Franz's car keys were found at the scene, and they were found to match some of the stab wounds on Lukas's body and had DNA on them. So Franz was stabbing Lukas with his keys.
Jeez.
And because Franz was a criminal genius.
Yeah.
For several hours after the attack, he was texting Nathan. And one of the texts said, bro, I stabbed someone for Ashmer and he got arrested. And then he said, I think I killed him. I'm hiding in an alley. Yeah, because he's a genius.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but the text literally started out with, bro. Josh Pook was said to have been seen bracing himself with one arm on a nearby wall while kicking Lukas in the face. Josh did testify and admitted to participating in the attack, but said he only kicked Lukas's face like maybe 4 times.
Because that's acceptable.
It was just 4 times, okay? Get off his back.
Yeah. Jeez.
So the jury went off to deliberate. And they deliberated for like 3 days. And they found 3 of the 4 guilty. So they found Ashmer, Franz, and Josh all guilty. Josh was found guilty of manslaughter, not second-degree murder. Ashmer and Franz were found guilty of second-degree murder. And then Jordan was acquitted. And I tried to find information on why Jordan was acquitted, and I really couldn't find anything. And the only thing I can think of is that there weren't any witnesses that could place him doing anything like they could the other guys. So that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, or maybe his age. I don't know. Like maybe he wasn't in the bar, but he met them outside.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I tried to find stuff on that, but I'm not sure. So Jordan was acquitted, never to be heard from again.
Weird.
So
Okay.
In January of 2017, Ashmer and Franz were sentenced to life in prison. And Josh, who was found guilty of manslaughter, was sentenced to 7 years minus his credit for time served. But Nathan, the one that was charged with first-degree murder, was still on the run. And guess where police found him?
Ontario.
Vietnam.
What?
He went to Vietnam, and the police found him because he was arrested in Vietnam for having a fraudulent passport.
Oh yeah. My God. That guy really went on the lam.
He ran.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thankfully Vietnam cooperated with Canada and sent him back. But then get this, Jessica. So Ashmer obviously appealed.
Obviously, as you do.
And he was let out on a $50,000 bail while waiting for his appeal process. He was on house arrest, but still, he was sentenced to life. And while waiting for his appeal, got out on bail. What the
can't
hell?
anymore.
Right? I mean, he doesn't run away, thankfully, but I was just like, what the hell?
Good.
Especially because he had a buddy that ran away to Vietnam.
I feel though they were young kids that were drinking and they get out of control. It doesn't excuse the behavior of what they did.
Right.
But I think that once they sobered up, some of them kind of realized like, oh shit.
What do we do? The only thing,
yeah.
And I could kind of see that, like, if it was just that attack in the front and they're like, oh, we got out of hand. But then they waited for him in the alley and then they left and came back. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like it was just like a rage thing. Like they kept, you know what I mean? Just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard when alcohol's involved, honestly, because it really does make people do awful shit.
Yeah, that's true. But
like they probably had some like underlying like anger.
Oh, for
issues
sure.
And stuff that just kind of gets amplified.
Yeah. And you know, like when you're in a group, you know,
and with your buddies,
stupid things in a group. But
yeah.
But I've also been in a group with drunk people and never beat anyone to death. So
same. Same.
So during this time, Nathan's trial started. And he was charged with first-degree murder, unlike the other ones, because he was caught on camera after that first initial encounter in the front of the club. He was caught on camera running back to his car, got a knife, came back, watched Lukas through like the front of the club while Lukas was like moving through the club to get to the back, saw that he went to the back and ran around to the back of the alley. So that's why he got first degree. So he ran back there and stabbed him.
Did he tell them that?
He must have been like, hey, follow me or whatever. But Lukas was stabbed in the heart, and that's probably what was the main cause of death.
Yeah.
And Nathan was the one that stabbed him. So
holy crap.
Yeah. He was found guilty and given life with no chance of parole for 25 years. But in November of 2019, your Supreme Court heard Ashmere and Franz's appeal. And Jessica, your Supreme Court, no, it was so sassy. I love your Supreme Court.
Oh, good.
They were so sassy.
Oh, that's good to know.
So I don't know anything about the Canadian Supreme Court, so don't come for me. I'm just going from this like 2-second video I saw of them being very sassy.
Okay, are you going to tell me how they were sassy?
Yes.
Okay.
So Franz's lawyer said that Lukas would have died even if Franz had never stepped in the alley. So he basically said like Franz attacked him, but like he would have died anyway because the other attacks were worse. And Judge Russell Brown, with his hand on his chin like this, goes, well, we don't know that. That was the evidence of one of the witnesses, and then smirked.
Like that guy.
And then like the next guy came up and said that the lawyer for Ashmere came up and said that like what he did was awful and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I can't remember what his excuse was, but there was another judge that like shut him down really quickly too, really sassy. It was just great.
Oh, I love it.
And so the judges left and they came back and they said that they didn't need to hear from the Crown, which I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means, Jessica?
It's basically the ones that kind of make the decisions.
Okay. And then the judges just kind of like.
Yeah, like I think that the information is presented to them.
Okay.
And I think it's, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know how to explain it properly.
Okay. But Canadians will know what that means.
But basically what I think is kind of the whole, they make the rules they kind of make sure that everything's kosher before shit goes through, like paperwork's done properly, crap like that. I don't
Okay.
know. But they're basically like the top guys.
Okay. So they said, and they made it sound like it was a really big deal that like they didn't need to speak to the crown. They were like, oh, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And the judges basically said that, like, hey, you guys the lawyers did a really good job. Like, you guys argued really well, but we're not overturning the verdict. So they are all still in jail.
Good.
Yes. And that is the story of Lukas Strasser-Hird.
Oh, it was so sad.
I know.
I'm glad they're in jail.
Yeah, for sure.
It's nice to hear a story where the bad guy ends up in jail.
Yeah.
And that it's not like a bad thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Like, how horrible though. Like, what a horrible person do you have to be?
Well, and like, I just can't imagine going that, like, how painful that must have been, just to basically get beat to death.
Yeah. And the fact, I don't like the fact that they brought his sister in.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too, but at the same time, like, he was.
I understand because it's her last time to see, to see him, but that's traumatizing.
Yeah, it is, and she mentioned that, but I feel like it would have been more traumatizing if she didn't get to say goodbye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I did think that at first too. I was like, oh yeah, I feel really bad for the mom.
Yeah. The mom though, like,
I can't imagine. Ugh. Yeah. Horrible story.
Yeah. Couldn't imagine.
No. I mean, so from what I hear, you know how like Canadians have a reputation for being like really nice and polite. Well, you guys are really nice and polite, but when you go hog wild, you go hog wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy under that politeness.
Yes. I mean, like, we have Paul Bernardo.
Yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of who went nuts.
Yeah. And then we had that pig farmer.
Oh, yeah, you did.
And then we had another serial killer in Toronto.
Oh.
We have a few. We don't claim them.
They're not true Canadians.
No. Okay, so I don't know how to transition from that to my story.
Perfect.
Just kind of
going in it. Yeah.
So last week I talked about that mine fire. And then I like lightly touched on a group called the Maguires.
Yes.
And we were kind of joking. We're like, oh, I should do a story for that because it sounds interesting. So I did.
Perfect. Let's hear it. I'm excited.
Okay. So in Pennsylvania in the 1870s, the Maguires retaliated against mine owners who slashed their pay. Ooh. But the mining owners finally prevailed in what would become the first labor war in American history, thanks to a private military team on their side.
Oh, interesting.
The story is really cool. I like it. I used all that's interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Of course.
Because I always forget to get my sources. During the mining strikes in the 1870s, the Maguires killed 24 mine foremen and supervisors, and they issued coffin notices to scabs.
Oh.
Do you know what scabs are?
No, but I'm very interested in these coffin notices.
Yeah. So to those that don't know what scabs are, because I was very confused. And when I asked my husband, he's like, you know, when you have a wound and
oh my God,
it kind of scabs over, and I'm like,
Kyle.
like, no shit.
A little smart ass.
But then when I clarified, he's like, oh, this is what it is, and he gave me the correct definition. So they're workers that are unionized. Holy crap, it's a word.
Okay.
And they're brought in to replace the people that have gone on strike so that production can keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There are scabs. They like scab over the.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Years passed while the secret society committed assaults, arsons, and murders before a Pinkerton detective infiltrated the group to bring it down from the inside.
Ooh, Pinkertons, man. They were all over back in the day.
They were so cool. The Molly Maguires campaigned for safer working conditions in Pennsylvania's hazardous mines. However, their brutal tactics were exposed in a trial that resulted in the execution of 20 men.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were the Molly Maguires, was that like their last name, Molly Maguire?
I'll get into that. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm picturing very like Peaky Blinders-ish.
Same. Yeah, same. The whole time I was like, oh, Cillian Murphy.
Oh God, I love him so much.
I love him.
I love him in Peaky Blinders. Like in real life, I do think he's handsome, but there's something about his character that he plays in Peaky Blinders.
It's his character. I love his character. Like,
and his dress, like the way they dress him, and like
and his hair. I have Kyle get the haircuts from Peaky Blinders because I love them.
I don't like the brother Arthur's haircut though.
Oh, I haven't like watched the whole show.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, well, I mean, he's like a main character.
I need to. I know. I need to.
Oh, it's really good. Their last season just came out. I gotta watch that still.
I just love Cillian Murphy.
I do too.
It really bugs me that his name looks like Cillian, but they pronounced it as Killian.
I literally thought it was Cillian until just the second when you said that.
Because I listened to a podcast that he was in. He was in the armchair with Dak Shepard, and he pronounced it as Killian. And I was like, oh,
he's still hot though.
Okay. Oh yeah. His eyes, man. Oh my God. He's my hall pass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Him and Charlize Theron are my hall passes.
Charlize Theron, really?
Yeah. So we're going to kind of go into it more, whether they struggled for their rights out of desperation or if they were just ruthless killers.
I'm betting a bit of both, but let's see.
Probably a bit of both. Irish mine workers formed a covert organization called the Molly Maguires. They took their moniker from an Irish secret society whose members disguised themselves by dressing as women.
Oh.
A widow by the name of Molly Maguire, known as the anti-landlord agitators, is said to have led the Irish protesters. When battling English landowners, the group used her name as their calling card.
That's cool.
Yeah. The American Society, like the Irish Molly Maguires, campaigned against injustice, especially how they were treated in the mines. Over 1 million Irish people immigrated to America as a result of the Great Potato Famine.
Oh, potato.
And I love potatoes.
I do too, man. You can do so much with potatoes.
I always blame the Irish in me that I love potatoes. Like eating like a copious amount of potatoes. I'm like, I'm Irish.
My husband's Irish and mostly Scottish, but a little bit of Irish too.
Yeah, I'm both.
Yeah.
I did the like ancestry DNA.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I had Irish in me, but apparently I do.
Oh, Cody knew. He's a redhead, and so they're pretty sure, but like they knew anyway. Like they just know from their family and stuff like that.
I mean, my daughter's a redhead, so
it's true. Because she's got Irish in her and Scottish
on both sides.
Yeah, I'm very white. Like if you think of the whitest combination of people, that's me. So I'm French Canadian, very white. Norwegian, super white.
Yep.
And Polish, very white.
And American.
Well, yeah. We're talking about ancestry.
Now. I have to point out the American.
My grandpa was from Quebec.
I know, you said it like 3 times on the podcast.
Because you're Canadian, so I think it's cool that we have that in common.
It is really cool.
Stupid.
Oh.
Continue. Potatoes.
Diddly-dee potatoes. I apologize to the Irish community that listens. Many companies in the 19th century discriminated against Irish people, sometimes posting signs that read, "Irish need not apply."
Oh.
Irish immigrants worked in the mines in Pennsylvania's coal region, and during the Civil War, the Molly Maguires first made an appearance. Irish immigrants protested against mine officials in frustration over their appalling working conditions and resentment at being conscripted into war. I read that as constipated, and then I realized the right word halfway through. That's why it sounded like I had hard struggles there. Yeah. When the mine workers joined a labor union in the late 1860s, the secret society began to calm down. Up until Pennsylvania's coal mining business was monopolized by railroad tycoon Franklin B. Gowan, the Workingmen's Benevolent Association, or the WBA, had been successful in negotiating greater salaries. The Molly Maguires returned under Gowan's strict control, along with their violent techniques. In the late 1870s, mine employees endured horrendous conditions. I'm going to mispronounce this because I looked up how to pronounce it 5 times and I still can't pronounce it.
At least you tried.
I tried real hard. In Schuylkill County, Schuylkill County, I don't know. It's spelled Schuylkill.
It's a hard one.
Schuylkill. That's what I'm going to say.
Sure. That's what we're going with.
There were 22,500 miners working in that county, and there is more than 5,000 kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
5,000 kids working or just living in that area?
I think just living in that area.
Oh, okay. Good. Whew.
So the mines are also really dangerous places to work because of there basically being no safety rules.
Yeah, mines are not a friendly place.
No. And by making the miners live in company-owned housing and make purchases at company-owned stores, the owners also extracted money from their workers.
Ooh.
Yeah. So they were basically
getting paid and then having to re-spend their money to the same people. Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Instead of receiving any pay, many employees ended the month owing money to their employers. Mine owners compelled the workers to sign a new contract after an 1873 economic crisis. The pay scale shrank by as much as 20%.
No wonder they were pissed off.
Yeah. So they went on strike.
I don't blame them.
I don't either. Owners and miners engaged in conflict during the long strike of 1875, which lasted 7 months.
Wow.
The Molly Maguires started threatening managers in an anonymous manner. The governor of Pennsylvania even dispatched troops to end the walkout.
Wow.
While some miners used violent ways to extract retribution on... That doesn't make sense. Anyway, some of them used violence to exact revenge on the mine owners, and others were compelled to accept the lesser wage. I'd fight.
I'd probably accept the wage and cry.
Okay, I think that I would be like you in the beginning, and then Kyle would be like, and then, yeah.
I'm too much of like a pushover, like wuss. Like they'd be like, let's fight. And I'd be like, yeah, let's fight. And then I'd be like, how?
Yeah. That's money. The WBA broke down during the long strike of 1875, and the miners soon understood that immigrants and others in the working class had limited legal safeguards. The Molly Maguires stood up to defend the rights of miners. Three groups were the targets of the Molly Maguires: mine owners, police officers employed by the owners, and strike breakers. They assaulted mining managers and threatened scabs who took over their positions. The coal owners formed their own police squad to assault the workers as the strike dragged on. And the hired enforcers, sometimes known as the Pennsylvania Cossacks, killed and beat miners.
I hate how they went about it, but like I understand why they did it. You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, it was a tough world.
Yeah.
I understand. The violence continued, so Gowan, who is the president of the Philadelphia and Reading Coal and Iron Company, took more drastic measures, as you do. Gowan contacted, like I said earlier, the Pinkerton Detective Agency, which we heard and learned about in my Jesse James story, I believe.
Yeah, and then we've mentioned them a few times in different stories because they were everywhere.
Everywhere. They're so cool. The first private detective in the United States, Alan Pinkerton, was infamous for using harsh tactics against strikers. Mining and railroad owners frequently hired the Pinkertons to serve as a private military force in the second half of the 19th century. Pinkerton dispatched an undercover detective in to sabotage the Molly Maguires. Irish-born investigator. Oh, I didn't realize he was Irish. That traitor. Irish-born investigator James McParland worked as an undercover agent for the secret society for more than 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. McParland joined a neighborhood Irish lodge using the alias of James McKenna and eventually won the Molly Maguires trust. The Pinkertons, who received regular reports from McParland, utilized his information to identify and assassinate a number of miners.
Oh.
60 Molly Maguires were detained by the police in 1875, and they soon went on trial.
Oh.
During the trials, which lasted from 1875 to 1877, James McParland was the key witness. Franklin Gowan, the mine owner, had hired the Pinkertons, but he also played the key role of chief prosecutor.
I don't like that.
No, I'm sure there's some law against that.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Gotta be, right?
Yeah. Gowan developed a case against the Mollies during the trials in front of juries devoid of Irish members.
This is all bad.
Yeah. And Gowan distributed flyers outside the court as well with the speeches that he made during the trial.
Wow.
In court, the evidence frequently fell short of what was required by law. Surprise, surprise. Except for McParland, the majority of the material was speculative or easily refuted. And perjury charges were coming from McParland.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. 20 individuals, though, were unfortunately given the death penalty in this trial based primarily on McParland's testimony. 10 members of the secret society were hanged together on June 21st, 1877, and this is sometimes known as Black Thursday.
Oh.
The Catholic Church excommunicated the condemned men before to their impending execution, depriving them of Christian funeral rites and last rites, which is really rude.
Yeah.
One Pennsylvania judge criticized the trial. Quote, "A private corporation initiated the investigation through a private detective agency. A private police force arrested the alleged defenders, and private attorneys for the coal companies prosecuted them. The state provided only the courtroom and the gallows," unquote. Yeah. Really not good all the way around.
Yeah, that's awful.
In the 1870s, both the mine owners and the miners resorted to violence. The Molly Maguires killed mine supervisors as company police opened fire into union meetings, killing the wife of a union organizer.
Oh, God.
But only the Molly Maguires had to answer for their actions.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, when do these mine owners have to pay their dues?
Never. John Kehoe, though, who is occasionally referred to as the King of the Molly Maguires, received a full pardon from the state of Pennsylvania in 1979.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was long dead by then, right?
Yeah, but I think it's like the principle
Yeah.
of, like a lot of people are still fighting for people from hundreds of years ago to have pardons, right?
Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways,
I just hate that those mine owners are probably like they're
rolling in their money.
yeah, and then like their generations are rolling in their money. Like there's probably generations now that have a ton of money from that.
Yeah. So stupid. I hate it so much. Anyways, I have some jokes here.
Oh, that was the end. Sorry, I thought there was more.
No, I'm done.
Okay. That was super interesting. I liked that a lot. I definitely was picturing Peaky Blinders the whole time.
Oh, so good. I love Peaky Blinders.
I do too. All right, well, let's hear these jokes.
Okay, let me see if they're any good. How was the Roman Empire cut in half?
I don't know how.
With a pair of scissors.
That's a really bad one, but the way you said scissors was funny.
How did the Vikings send secret messages? By Norse code.
Ooh.
And then we'll go one more.
Okay.
Pen. Okay. How did Louis XIV feel after completing the Palace of Versailles?
I don't know how.
Baroque.
You get it. You get it.
Baroque.
I love it.
I do too. Those are actually really cute.
Well, if you want more of us lovely ladies, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And YouTube.
We have that thing now.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. And you can rate and review us. You threw me off. You can rate and review us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if you wanted to leave a really nice review, that would be super. And if you want to leave a bad review, that's cool too. Just kind of let us know what we can do better. Because if you just leave us a bad review, we don't know how to improve.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe if you want to leave us a bad review, just email us and then don't bring down our score. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, you're not. Well, we really appreciate everybody. We still can't believe that we're now past 100 episodes.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's crazy. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. And we look forward to bringing you 2 new stories next week.
Bye.